Hello everyone. Today I'd like to give you my thoughts on my new Alienware 17R2. But wait, didn't you have a 13 2 weeks ago? I did. Unfortunately, the battery was defective. I sent it back, got a refund, and decided to go with this big laptop. It is a huge improvement performance-wise. I got a great deal on it. Unfortunately, it's not the new generation that they just launched a few weeks ago. It is the R2, but it's not that big of a deal. I wouldn't care for a 3.1 USB port anyway. And the specs are awesome for the price I got it for. It has an i7 4720HQ, so previous Haswell generation CPU. Still very powerful. Definitely isn't going to be a bottleneck. 16 gigs of RAM, a GTX 970M, and and 1 terabyte hard drive along with a 128 gigabyte SSD. Now, for whatever reason, the OS is loaded on the hard drive, not on the SSD. And I really, at this point, I got it the way I like it. I have everything installed. I don't feel like moving it and doing all that. So I guess I'll have to stay with the 1 terabyte for now. But maybe in a few months, I'll upgrade to a 500 gig 2.5-inch SSD. That's a possibility. I don't know why they did it like that. The 128 gig SSD is formatted for storage. I guess maybe your programs are going to load faster on the SSD. I put GTA 5 on the SSD and it seems to load pretty quick, so that's a bonus, I guess. But I would have done that anyway, even if the OS was loaded on it. So it's whatever. But, you know, with the 13, the big issue was the dual core processor. Now I have a quad core processor, and that's definitely not going to be a bottleneck. It's clocked at 2.6 gigahertz up to 3.6. So GTA 5 runs smoothly, there's no stuttering. The GTX 970M is very powerful. Fortunately not on par with my desktop 970, but it's fine for now. I think probably the only downside is the 3 gigs of VRAM. In the future, I don't think that's going to be enough. But for now, it's plenty. So hopefully I'll be able to run Fallout 4 on at least high settings, which I imagine is going to be possible. The thinness. Now, my first recent Alienware laptop was the 17 that came out in 2013, and it was pretty big. It was very, very thick, and it kind of irritated my wrist when I was playing games, when I was resting my wrist on it. And with this, it shrunk down a bit. It still bothers me a little bit, but you know, it's a pound lighter, and it isn't as uncomfortable, so that's a plus. And of course, you have some macros here on the side. I'm trying to program them, you know, to do functions in Dota, but they're formatted as F1. So the first function key is F1, second one is F2, etc. So I'm trying to fix that in the software, but I have not done that yet. Of course, a big addition that I really do like is the numeric keypad on the 17-inch model, and that's definitely a plus. And it's awesome that they're going with the 1080p screen from the get-go. I really do like that. It's an IPS quality screen, very bright, very crisp, and it's an awesome screen. Great viewing angles as well. One letdown though is the HDMI port. It does have HDMI out, but not in. I'm not sure why they omitted that. I thought it was really neat how you could do that. You could plug in a PS4 and use the gorgeous screen. So, you know, I'm not just a letdown, I guess. But, you know, even on the sides, you don't have all the ports that you're used to. They kind of went down on the ports, which is, I guess, for cost reduction, who knows. But that's that. I guess it has all the ports I need, so it's whatever. The cooling. Now, the previous generation was thicker, so I guess it could have bigger fans, better ventilation, so it stayed cooler. This one tends to run a bit hot, and the fans do rev up pretty loud. Now, the WASD area is pretty cool, but I noticed around this area here, it gets really hot. Um, so, I mean, you're not really going to be messing around that area, so I guess it's not that big of a deal, but it does seem like abnormally hot. Um, so that's just something to consider, I guess. Um, the fans do get loud a few minutes into the game, no matter what I'm playing. Previous generation, they wouldn't get that loud. I mean, they were loud if you were having like long sessions and even like less demanding games like Hotline Miami. They wouldn't be too loud. But with this, a few minutes into the game, and they're already seemingly revved up to maximum capacity. Now I play with headphones, so it's not that big of a deal. I don't really notice it, but it does. It could bother the people around you if you're in a quiet setting. Probably the last thing to touch on, I guess, would be the sound. Now the speakers are awesome. They're very loud, if not louder than the previous 17. And they added a subwoofer to the base of the product, and that was probably something lacking in the last generation, is the bass. But now the bass sounds great, very loud, can fill up a room, and it's amazing. It's awesome listening to music on this computer. So that's about it for now. Unfortunately, I don't have my microphone, my Yeti mic. I sold that along with my desktop, so hopefully I can do a pretty decent review and it sounds good. But yeah, I definitely recommend the 17R2. Awesome computer. And stay tuned for the review.